Welcome everybody, welcome Kaizer Chiefs fans. It's Talking Kaizer Chiefs, brought to you by SoccerBeat, and it's Peter the Toy, and I've got the Kaizer Chiefs man, Tsepo Masilela. Tsepo, not a great game against Chipper, and a game that highlighted once again what's been the highlight of all season, what every fan knows. Kaizer Chiefs need for next season at least one top quality striker, probably two. And we saw Pirates play Pyramids, and we had a good look at Fiston Mayele, their striker. And in my opinion, this is somebody that Kaizer Chiefs have to sign. He's the best bet right now for Kaizer Chiefs. I think he's the answer to Kaizer Chiefs' problems. But I wanted you to jump into it straight away. You've watched the play, you've watched videos. What are your thoughts? The positives, first of all.
The positives, Peter, obviously is a proven goal scorer. You know, that's what you look at the striker. First things first, the numbers, you know, the goals, the returns, because they need someone who's going to score goals. We can't hide from that. And listen, we watched him yesterday. He had a ball twice in the back of the net. Unfortunately, for VAR, you know, they overturned those. But let's say he was in our league with no VAR. It's 2 goals for him yesterday.
Good point. But Tsepo, just a question. I mean, he finished well. He showed power.
Yes, especially the first goal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know,
but
so,
would you agree? A lot of fans would say, and we're going to talk more about Fiston and his strengths and weaknesses. We've done a lot of detail out there, Chiefs fans. We've got a lot of detail to discuss about Fiston. But Chiefs, to a top team, needs more than one striker. Dube and Dupree and Morris, in my opinion, should stay, especially because of their versatility. Dube's young. He can play wide right. He can play wide left. He can play 10. And he can play up front if they're injuries. And he's definitely one for the future. So definitely keep him. Dupree can play wide right or down the middle. And his pace coming as a sub, I think, is always an option for Kaizer Chiefs. And then Morris is Mr. Reliable. You can have him up front. You can play him wide right. And he can play in midfield. So Chiefs should sign 2 more players, but definitely one. Those 3 do you agree with me? Those 3 should stay, and Ranga, Chivaro, obviously, to be let go. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it looks like Ranga, you know, they're going to release Ranga. And Morris, yes, he's a big boy. He can hold the ball. But at a team like Chiefs, man, if you're going to stay like 3 seasons, and, you know, looking at the age-wise, and again, you also look at the DDC team. Who's there? Who's promising? Who can they promise? Who can they promote, you know, to be in the first team, to be in the mix? And then that's where a coach will make decisions, who's staying, who's not staying. But Dupree's and Dube has done well this season. You know, I think he's the leading goal scorer. You wouldn't want to release Dube. And again, yeah, I would keep, maybe release one, maybe Morris, you know. I don't see him, I didn't see him as a long-term solution anyway to Kaizer Chiefs' problem.
Right. But if you release Morris, you definitely got to get 2 strikers. But at this moment, we'll talk about just one. And guys, before we go forward, just don't forget, please subscribe. We on nearly 35,000 subscribers. We want to get to that magic 50,000. When we hit that 50,000, Cheese, Mokoena, and Kermit Erasmus are going to do a rap, and they're going to bring in a big rapper. And maybe we'll get Tsepo to dance on the table. And also, don't forget, support our sponsors. Get on the Betway app, press the SoccerBeat tab, and get yourself a 25 rand extra bet. So, Tsepo, we've watched a lot of him. We've watched a lot of Fiston Mayele. I genuinely believe this guy is, and his age may say, people say he's a short term, but, you know, Chiefs need, short term is now. We need Chiefs need a striker for the next 2 seasons that can deliver. So at the age of 30, I think by 32, he'll still be able to do the job. So he comes as a ready-made package. He's not somebody who's got to learn the game. He knows how to score goals. If you look at his strengths, I think his biggest asset, though, which should make him a star in the PSL, is terrific in the air. He scores a huge amount of goals in the air. Strong headers, flick-ons. His runs for those headers are superb. I've even seen him from a standing position get power behind a header. So there's a dearth of strikers in the PSL. Even a big boy like Ranga is not good enough in the air. There's a dearth of top strikers who can head a ball in the PSL. I think that's his biggest asset as far as I'm concerned. And his strength when he runs, makes forward runs. Very few of our strikers make forward runs. He makes runs from deep, and he's very powerful when he gets to the end of it. And his finishing is cool, calm, and calculated. I think he's a top man. You watch the videos. What do you think of his physical presence, his ability in the air, and his power and strength?
You mentioned the power, and strength, Peter. When he's on his strides, like when he makes those runs behind defenders, so you can see the strides and how he finishes. It's one thing to make those runs, and you don't finish, so they're as good as nothing. But with him, we see him making those runs, and he can drive with the ball also. I've seen goals where he's running from almost the halfway line all the way to finish. It shows that he's got power. And obviously, you've mentioned that aerially is a threat. He's a threat, and he can finish. Because as a striker, in some games, you won't get those clear-cut opportunities. But if you are a threat aerial, that's where you can unlock the opposition. One good cross, one header, 1-0, the game changes. It opens up. That's where you can find joy and score more goals. But he's got all those attributes, and he can finish with both left and his right, Peter.
Correct. In fact, I couldn't work out was he left or right-footed because he turns easy to the left and he turns easy to the right. So I think he's actually right-footed. But either way, he's happy to finish on either foot, which is fantastic. So you've got a striker. You put it in the air, he can win it and score, and you can put it to his left-hand side, he can score, and you can put it to his right-hand side, he can score. So that's a tremendous attribute, and he's physically strong. A question. Well, funny enough, he seems made for Chiefs because Chiefs play with two wide men, putting crosses in. So if they can improve on their crossing, which we'll come to later, he seems like a perfect fit for Kaizer Chiefs on that basis. Age-wise, are you worried that he's 30?
30, not really worried. If you look at the number of games he's played, through the past maybe a couple of seasons, this season alone is sitting on 27 games played already, and they're still in the Champions League. The league is not finished yet. Last season, if I'm not mistaken, he played 32. So it shows you that this guy he still has the body to carry him, to play a good number of games, 30 plus per season. So that's what you look at when you go for a striker. How many games can he give you? Obviously, there's injuries, Peter, that we can't run away from. But looking at the numbers, they're impressive, they're good. It shows that the body can still carry him, can still deliver.
Yeah, I mean, he scores 1 in 3 goals, which is a good ratio. It's not the world's best ratio, but it's a good enough ratio. And he's 6 foot in my language, or 185 centimeters. So he's definitely a big boy. A lot of people will say, but he scored a lot of goals in not great leagues. But the Egyptian league is as good, if not better, than our league. So 27 goal. I mean, the ratio of 1 in 3 in the Egyptian league, which is currently at, I think, is a good enough ratio. I'll give you 2 other stats. He's averaging in the Egyptian league 2.4 shots per 90 minutes. So 2.5 shots a game in 90 minutes. Viewers out there may think that doesn't sound like a lot, but I can tell you in modern day football for a striker, that's nothing wrong with that. And 0.8 of those shots are on target, which I would like it to be slightly higher. But be that as may, and just under half of those turn into goals of the shots on target, half are goals. That's a good ratio. So just one negative, and I don't think it's a negative that actually relates to him. And this is a question the fans need to ponder here. I don't think Lilepo, his crossing, is that good. And also when you play, I've watched the teams that he's played for. They play with a traditional left footer on the left wing. And when you've got a traditional left footer on the left wing, they're going down the byline and they're crossing. The ball's coming on the byline. And so when the striker's coming towards it, you can hit it with power because obviously the ball's coming towards you. When you've got a right footer like Modi or Lilepo playing on the left wing, or sometimes they have Dube there, but either way, when you've got a right footer playing there, his cross is either with his weaker foot and possibly not so good, but if he crosses with his right foot, the ball's traditionally going towards the keeper. So when the striker's running in, there's not enough power, he really can only get a deft flick. So I'm a little concerned about that. Whereas coming from the right-hand side with Lilepo, he'll be able to pull it back. But Lilepo's crossing is not anywhere near as it should be. So even though they got the right guy in the middle of the park, I'm concerned about, and the fact that Chiefs also play with 2 wingers, that's a good thing. But I'm concerned about the kind of Lilepo's crossing is not good enough. And then from the left-hand side, Modi's the right footer, the cross is not exactly what a striker would, and I'm an ex-striker, what I would want. So your thoughts on that?
Peter, with this current Kaizer Chiefs team, it's very tough to be hard, or it would be unfair to be hard on the likes of Lelepo. I think there's two games where they started with Ashley up front, and there's a game where they started with Dube. Now, as a winger, you want to play those crosses, but sometimes you're just playing the crosses because the team is desperate. But again, who do you have that aerial presence in the box, to finish those crosses? Because one thing about good strikers aerially, I remember I played some couple of games with Coach Benny McCarthy. He would tell you, just cross the ball. I know how to attack that ball. Don't worry, don't want to play a perfect cross that will come straight to me. Just play it in the box. I will attack that ball. I will go in front of the defender, get first to the ball and finish, generate power and finish. So that's another thing, if you don't have that striker that gives you that confidence. So we're not really sure if they are not good crossers or there's no one to attack those cross and finish. Because a cross doesn't have to be perfect all the time, but a guy that's a threat in aerially, they know how to attack the ball and they will finish you.
Yeah, I agree with you. In actual fact, Seppo, the fact what you just mentioned now, I think with having that quality striker there, all the crosses will be better. And I think you've just made me realize something. A player like Sereno, his game will get it even to another level because you can see when he's getting the ball, he's looking up and there's no one really.
He's looking.
Not to, in other words, even when Ranga plays, he can't knock it between the defenders because he knows Ranga's not particularly going to be able to get there. All due respect to Morris, he's going to try and get there, but he's almost like closing the players down as opposed to winning the ball first. Dupree's got that kind of pace, and so has Dube, but Dupree's not always making, when he's central, he doesn't make those runs. Whereas the runs, I can see Mayele getting the ball and making those runs and Sereno picking him out. I think Fiston will add a lot to the quality of play that Sereno brings to the team. The other positive, though, is Nabi knows him.
Yes. From Tanzania, if I'm not mistaken, from younger days. So the coach knows him. But it's going to be tough to get this deal, over the line. If you look at the team he's playing for, it's a team that's competing for the league in Egypt. They're in the semi-finals of the Champions League. And, I don't think financially they far off or they bad. The team that's maybe getting him from Tanzania would have been slightly easier. I'm not too sure about the dynamics that side. But again, because the coach knows him, maybe the coach can help the team to get the player. Unless looking at his age, he's 30 years, maybe he's on his last contract, big contract. He's eyeing a big contract this time, and or unless the player's got a dream of playing for Kaizer Chiefs. He really loves the team, he's watched it on TV, he knows the history, and he knows it's a big team with a huge following. Maybe he can force the move, or maybe the transfer fee is something that they can't reject his team that side, so. But it's going to be a tough one when you're going for such players that are playing at the team that's a top team competing for the league and Champions League. So to tempt him to leave that team, it's going to be tough.
Seppo, I think you spot on. What Chiefs have got to do is got to realize that if you want the top players, and they can't buy somebody who's still learning his game. If you go to the top players, you pay top price. And Chiefs right now, more than anything else, need a top striker. Because you know as well, when you're playing at the back and you've got somebody up there who's going to get you a goal when you're struggling, when the team's not playing that well, there's always a goal in him. You know that if you're in trouble, you've got somebody who's going to run for you. When a cross comes in, he's going to challenge for it. It makes a big difference to the whole feeling within the team. Like you need a goalkeeper who can pull you out of trouble. So I think you and I both agree that out of all the players that are available that Chiefs are looking at, he's top of the list. And it's going to be hard to get him from Pyramids because they're a wealthy club. But they've got to make an offer that Pyramids can't refuse, because Chiefs can't afford not to have somebody like, if it's not Fiston, it's got to be somebody else like him, and that person's going to cost a lot of money as well. And you may as well bring somebody who's aware of African football, and the coach knows that he can hit the ground running. We're going to take a short promo break. After that break, I want to talk to you about what are the plan Bs for Kaizer Chiefs if they can't get Fiston. See you now.
How would you like to win a little something extra just for joining the best in the game? For a limited time, we are teaming up with Betway and giving all of you access to a SoccerBeat exclusive. If you join Betway using the sign-up code SoccerBeat, now you get 25 Rand extra bet. That's right. It's time to get way more out of every bet. Standard T's and C's apply.
Welcome back. It's Talking Kaizer Chiefs. It's SoccerBeat. It's Peter de Toit and Tsepo Masilela. And we're talking about the man Tsepo and I both believe that Fiston should be fast on his way. He should be on the Pistons to Kaizer Chiefs to start next season because they can't afford not to have somebody like this. The prices, he's a 30-year-old. Just before we talk about other options, I mean, 15, they paid what? 10 million Rand, just 10 million Rand for Lilepo, and he's 27, and he's not a goal scorer. He's a good winger. He's not setting the whole league alight. Fiston is the ready-made thing. I think if they paid 30 million for him, that would still be good value. And you'll get 3 good years out of him, and if you win a league out of that, or you get in the CAF final after that, I think it's money well spent. But let's look at who else is on the table. Prince Dube, he's playing at Azam. He's 28. So he's not much younger than, he's 28, 29. He's not much younger. He was at Supersport. He failed. He's only really done well at Azam, and he is a player Chiefs are looking at. But if you compare the two records, Tsepo, they chalk and cheese. So if they could get Prince Dube at, say, 8 million, yes, they're saving money, but I don't believe they're getting the same level of quality. And I've seen right now, actually, he's definitely not of the same quality. I may be wrong, but I don't know. Have you watched enough of him?
To be honest, I haven't watched enough of him, Peter. But the name time and again, the name is being mentioned. With possible signings or possible targets for the team. And as we said, they need 2, minimum 1, but 2 strikers. If they can also get him, that would be nice. And Lakay, I'm not sure, what's his situation that side. That would also be nice to get a player like Lakay. He's strong, he can finish also. And yeah, but what's gonna be key, Peter, with all these names and signings? If they make their intentions early, at least it gives the selling team to look for replacement. If you wait for the deal till late, then it might not happen because the team will say, but the window is gonna close in 2 weeks' time. Where are we gonna get the replacement? So what's key for Chiefs is to make their intentions early and go for their targets early. So that will give the selling party some time.
Spot on. I can see you should be an agent there, Tsepo. You've got a spot on team. Yeah, what Tsepo's saying is 100% right. Fagrie Lakay, by the way, is 27 years of age, so he's also an experienced player. He's not an out-and-out number 9. He can play 9. He's a 10 or a wide right, but he's certainly got the experience, and he scores goals, a good finisher. What about Khanyisa Mayo? I mean, he's playing at Belouizdad, sorry. He's only scored 4 goals in 17. I've never seen him as a great goal scorer, but he can get to the end of crosses. He knows the PSL. They paid good money for him. I think they paid 10 for him, so Chiefs could afford that. But is he in that league, by the way? Is he in that league that he brings you that definite difference? I'm not sure.
For me, he's not a target man 9, as we mentioned, the aerial power. I don't think that's one of his strengths also, with crosses, finishing from crosses aerially, obviously, with a header. I don't think he's in that league. But Mayo, for me, is more like a 10, Peter.
Funny enough, he scored a good goal in the air against Pirates in the Champions League.
I remember you do.
Yeah.
I remember it though.
The best football I've seen him play actually was when he played against Pirates in both games, when he came as a sub and then when he started as well. But and the other option, by the way, he has a strange option for you because I'm surprised that Sundowns haven't finalized. But Peter Shalulile's contract comes at the end of the season, and all reports that we get is that no contract has been, no new offer has been made as yet. And look, he's 31, 32. But you know what you're going to get with him. He's not the best in the air. He's not an out-and-out get-it-to-feet target man, but he can play the pressing game because he runs all day. He's a bit like Otto. The guy's got energy. As a short term, if they can't get the man they want, Fiston or the likes of Fiston overseas, would you go and get Peter Shalulile and offer him a huge deal because just for 2 years, that match the kind of money that he could get at Sundowns, knowing that you're going to get the finished article, but hoping that it doesn't happen to him what happened to Kama Billiot and Dolly, that when they come to Chiefs, either directly from Sundowns or via France, that suddenly the players disappear. But I mean, Peter is a different kind of Peter the Great.
No.
He's a different kind of. He's a hard-working player. What do you think?
No, with Peter the Great, you also look at his behavior. He looks like a guy that you'd want to have in your change room. He looks like he's not those players that sulk, and cause problems. He always brings good positive energy to the team. I look at him when he's at Sundowns, his behavior when he's not playing, when he goes for a warm-up, I think he's that player, man, the selfless player that you need, in the squad. And I think he can still give you 10, 15 goals. Listen, in South Africa you need a 10, 15 goals striker that push you top 5, top 3, with that return. So I would also go for him.
Yeah, so would I. I think first of all, I'd be very surprised if they don't offer him very good money, because he's still first choice for Cardozo. He's playing him ahead of Reyners and anybody else, and they're not filled with great strikers. So I'd be very surprised if Sundowns don't give him what he wants. But if they don't, I'm sure it makes sense for Shalulile to just go across the road to Chiefs as opposed to up in his roots and going somewhere in Africa, which I can't see that deal happening. It'll be an incredible signing for Chiefs. But let me tell you something. I know Pirates have always been big admirers of the player as well. So it's going to be it'd be a very interesting transfer window for Peter Shalulile, incidentally. I can tell you now, I know Pirates like the player. But if I were Chiefs, I'd be looking to sign him and Fiston. But that's it, guys. I think Tsepo and I have done a good look there. Kaizer Chiefs, watch the show. Get your checkbook out. Your fans want Fiston. And viewers out there, let us know who else you want us to look at. We'll do a thorough evaluation of the players with pleasure. We've got access from agents and stuff, all the proper intelligence on the players. Let us know, and Tsepo and I will deep dive, and we'll bring Farouk in as well to do a deep dive on the player. But at the moment, Fiston looks like the best bet, and Peter Shalulile is, I would run across quickly, and when they're not looking, sign him if I was Chiefs. Tsepo, thanks, guys. See you all soon.
Thank you, Peter. Cheers.
Bye.
SoccerBeat, what?